stretch, kind of quickly going through our prepare our body to sing, breathing to sing, and then we'll be working some more with our vowels and so on. So just quickly, just doing any kind of little movements that you'd like to do. Maybe stretching up is going to help you, maybe twisting to the side, whatever, maybe hanging down, whatever of that kind of loosening up is helpful for you with where your body is this evening. We're going to do shoulders together in a second, so you can do any other kind of stretching. All right. Quickly check where your feet are, and your knees are not locked, your hips are over your feet. And let's just do some big shoulder rolls going forward. Big circles. One more big circle, and then we'll go the other way. Get out all around the circle. One more big circle with your shoulders, and then shaking everything out. Deborah, you're actually over here tonight. All right, so just shake everything out just real quick, just get nice and loose. Reset your posture, reset your shoulders if you need to. And we're just going to take a nice long inhalation, and then we're going to exhale out just on the, actually no sound. We're just going to, we're going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth, but without making a lot of sound as we breathe out. We're not looking for a or any kind of thing like that, or an S or anything. So just breathing in, and I'll just show you. So we'll breathe in through your nose and out. Great. One more time, breathing in through the nose and out. Right, this time we're going to breathe in more quickly. We're still going to breathe out over a long time, but we're just going to take that same amount of breath that you just did over a longer time. You're going to do just now over 2 beats. You ready? Breathing 1, 2, and out. And let the rest go. All right, let's just add a little more rhythm and pulse to that. So what we're going to do is we're still going to breathe in on 2 counts, and we're just going to go ha, 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 ha. Just 4 times ha. Breathing 1, 2, ha, 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 ha. And just putting your hand here so you can really feel that sensation as you breathe in, and this area here expands, and then you feel that muscle engage as you breathe out. So doing the same thing, breathing in 1, 2, ha, 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 ha. Great, and we're going to add some pitch to that. Let's have a G above middle C. So we're going to do the same exact thing, but this time with pitch. Ha, 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 ha. Just 4 times. Breathing 1, 2, and ha, 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 ha. Good. An extra one. So this time, as you breathe, as you do that, those ha-has, really see if you can kind of, like, imagine that it's like a ball, a tennis ball that you're sort of lobbing up and over there. You want to get your tennis ball over Gina's head there. All right, so here we go. Breathing 1, 2, ha, 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 ha. Good. All right, continuing our work with vowels, let's refresh our minds about the vowels, the scale of vowels as we go from ah to e by just saying ah, e. Say that with me. Ah, e. And now we're going to do it again with the stopping in between. And I want you to really pay attention to what's changing in your face and with your lips and all of that. All right. So ah, e. What's the biggest thing that changes there? Who can tell me?
Mouth shape.
Erbuja?
To E.
Well, yes, of course, the vowel changes, but what's changing to make in our faces? Rafaela. What the jaw is doing, right? When we said ah, e, right? That jaw was kind of changing position, all right? So, so this is, now we're gonna do this just on a, stay on that nice G that we just do. We're just gonna change on pitch. Ready, and let's see if we can make the biggest difference, not necessarily a beautiful singing sound. See if you can really go from a very O to E. All right, see if you can really make a big difference. And so we're really accenting the difference between that. So that's one sort of side of the V of vowels, V for vowels. And then the other one is as we go from A to O to U. So let's just do that on speaking. A, O, U. And what's changing there to change those vowels? The lips, right? So we're not changing our jaw all that much, but our lips are becoming more closed, and that's what's making that. So let's do that. Let's just to change it up. Let's go to G sharp. So we're going to do O. I forgot O. O. So we feel that changing and. Now let's see if we can sort of slide from those instead of making a new one. So now, as we look at both sides of that vowel V, we see that we have a lot to play with in terms of the shape of our mouths and how we can add one thing from another. Let's go back to our E one and see if, now I had you do it in a very exaggerated way, but what if when we get to the E, what if we don't go all the way to the E, very bright this way, but we keep a little bit of that ah sound. Let's see what that sounds like. Let's stay on the G sharp. So, let's do it where we go to the very bright, and then we'll make the shift after that. So let's do but now we're going to open up to. Do you hear the difference in sound? So, in different parts of our range, different pieces call for different mixtures of that. We're going to work on that in just a second. On the next exercise, as we go, we're going to kind of work our way down the scale and see how we might need to add some more of that E into something. So let's have E flat major. We're just going to do ma, just on ma down the 5-note scale. As we're going down, it's a little bit maybe to do with our vowels, as we'll see in a minute, but being careful that as we go down that 5-note scale, we aren't going too far down, right, where we just left off. And open up to the ah. So it's all of an ah. Now let's do that one again, but let's make a little change to that. Instead of staying in that very open, let's see if we can bring that ma, bring a little bit of that E sound into that. So, ma, 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 ma. Just bringing a little bit of that E shape of our mouths as we work our way down the scale. Let's go right there. And yeah, we don't want to start with that. Start with a nice ma, open, and then as you go down, see if you can add a little bit of, almost like you're going to start singing E, but you don't quite. Great, let's do this. Here's a little trick we can do. We can do that pitch one more time. Put your hand like this as you sing, and as you go down that scale, I just want you to go like this as we go. Okay, here we go. See, what's happening is it's giving us a kind of a visual cue of making us think about here, right? Let's go down a half step. adjusted, but stay all that very open. So, ma, ma. We'll go down, but stay open. Ma, 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 ma. It's harder to sing when we get down there, right? It's harder for the pitch to really speak. So that's when we want to add. That's a lot of times why altos, I'm asking you to be a little bit more bright on some of the low note. But that can work for sopranos too. For sopranos, there are times when you're in the middle of your register or in the lower part of your register or a particular vowel like an that can be hard, and we want to add a little brightness. It will help with the pitch and will help with the help to keep that kind of help it sound a little bit more. Now I'm going to look at the other side of things. So let's go back to E flat. And we're going to do nu, 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 all on nu. Right? We can't really make the space. So what do we need to do? We need to do the opposite and make it more close to na. So we do nu, 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 nu. I didn't even sing nu completely right. I kind of went almost to na, right? So let's do that pitch right where we were and see if we can make that adjustment as we go up so that the top pitch opens up more and we just change that vowel just a little bit. All right? And easier, right? Now we're not really singing new on that very top pitch, right? But if this were part of a song, you'd hear it as new, right? The word would still make sense. All right, let's do one more. Just sopranos, one more. We didn't make that adjustment early enough. We waited until the top note, but we need to do it sooner because now more of that exercise is in that range. Let's do that same note again. Make the adjustment sooner. Breath. Better, right? Better. So that's what we're always going to be. Now I probably in every piece, I'm not going to give you every moment to change that, but you will feel for your own voice where you might, maybe Angela needs to make that vowel adjustment in a different place than Rafaela does or than Jean does. You know, everybody's voice is a little bit different, and so you're listening for that, and you're listening for where am I kind of like, if I'm at the lower end, am I kind of getting woofy and it's just like the sound is just kind of going, right? you ever been in that situation when you're down in the lower part and just like, that didn't sound like anything, right? So that's where you need brightness. If you're at the top of your range and it's feeling like, that's where you need to change the vowel to something more open. All right? So I hope that will help. I'll try to point out some examples of that as we go through, but I'd like for you to also be thinking about those ideas as we go through and kind of doing a little experimenting as we go through this rehearsal just with your own voice. All right, good. Let's have a seat. We're going to look at Sorrow No More, which we did not get to last week because we were doing some other good work on other pieces, which was needed. But all right, I'd like to just read it. It's been a minute since we've sung through this. Did I give the splits for the sopranos previously? Sopranos, look on page, the second sopranos right before letter B on the second page. Did I give you that divisi? Yes, no, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
You have it? Okay. And for first sopranos, there's a divisi spot on page 4. Did I give you that?
Yes. Yeah.
At measure 52, you have marked which part you're singing? Okay, Erin, you are singing the lower note.
Yeah, me neither. Thank you.
All right, I'll go through that again just in case anybody was absent. Going back to the second soprano split on page 2. Singing the top note is Angela, Chris, and Sarah. Of course, you guys are all spread around the room. Good luck. And the lower note is going to be Evie, Isabella, and Joy Ellen. Then for the first soprano split on at measure 52, the top note is Jennifer, Caitlin, and Alicia. The lower note is Erin, Rafaela, and Jamie. So Erin, you're it tonight. No, Rafaela's here. She's just far from you. All right. So with that, let us go. Also, one more little thing for the altos on the bottom of page 3. Where you have that repeated word floor, that was one of the things we wondered about. For right now, repeat the word. I have asked the composer what she meant, because that spot is very similar to another spot, and she wrote it one way, one place, and a different way the other place, and I'm not quite sure. But for right now, go ahead and sing floor, floor, even though that seems not, it seems like a mistake, but I think it might not be. All right, here we go. From the very beginning. Crescendo leading into the mezzo forte, not quite as good coming down from that. So we sort of go up to it, and then we're going to come back from it just the same way we came. making the shapes. Most of the time we're doing a good job of making those releases on the and of the beat where we have those ties. Few places we were a little, in fact at the very end I think a lot of us made our cutoff on the downbeat instead of on the and of 3, so we'll just be more careful. But on the whole, I think it's pretty good. What I'd like to hear a little bit more of is the moving of the inner, or any part that's moving. The piece has a real sense of almost kind of like staticness, like it really kind of stays in the same place. And I think what makes it interesting is the weaving of the parts within the phrase. So if you have a moving part, we want to hear that just a little bit more. Let's go and look at some examples of that. Let's go all the way back to A. And let me hear the second sopranos just by yourselves. And let it right at measure 8. 2 and. Yeah, good. So they have that moving, they have those 8th notes that nobody else has in measure, whatever it is, 12, I think, right? Now, altos, you have something similar on sorrow, on the last measure, top of that page. So let's hear both alto parts from sorrow, a child, that is measure 14, I think. See where that is? 2 and. So even though we're in the middle, we're kind of coming down, and we're kind of in the middle of a day crescendo there, I want those quarter notes to come out just a little bit more. All right? Let's do that one more time, right, on sorrow. And you see that you have breaths at different times. The composer's trying to give you basically writing in the staggered breathing for you. So do follow it as it's written. 2 and. And you're off on 3. Very good. Let's see now if we can put the whole thing together, just up till from A until B, and really listening for those moving parts. I'm not going to worry too much right now about the soprano splits because I know we're missing so many people, and I also have you sitting more in your 1, 2, 3 arrangements, which we'll see why I did that in a minute. But I thought, all right, well, I'll give you a little challenge to see if you can hold your own when you're mixed up. All right, here we go. Letter A, everybody. 2 and. Yeah, can you feel that the breath that you take? You know, it's almost like a little bit of a sigh. So you kind of that breath. It's not so mechanical, but it's more organic than that. All right, let's take one more time. 2, 3. Going back to our little vowel work that we did in our warm-up. So the B kind of is hard to sing, number 1. It sticks out, number 2, and it screws up the tuning just a little bit. So make that a little taller and change that into I instead of E. So in the second phrase, we have much shorter to get to the same dynamic, right? So that means that crescendo needs to happen sooner, including on the long note, right? Don't wait until the second measure to start that crescendo. Here we go. Right on as was, right after the fermata. 2 and. Rehearsal C, kind of similar to what we did before. What I don't know, altos, if we keep the floor, the repeat of floor and floor, what's not clear to me is whether that should be slurred the way she has it, because she doesn't have that in the other place. She has a comma there, and I think it's going to be kind of hard to do floor, floor. it's a little awkward, so I'm trying to get some clarification from her, but I suspect that she meant it to be more, if you look over at page 5 on sing sing, it's the same figure, and she doesn't have a slur there, so I suspect that's probably what we should do. So for now, don't try to align those two floors together, make a comma in between them. Here we go, everybody at C. To and. Yeah, get right together, a nice T on that. To. Yeah, that's great T, not so loud. To. The gl is a hard one to do. Use our G with a K trick. Just put a little bit of K before that. I think that will help those cleanings to come out just a little bit more. And sopranos, don't be shy about your repeating of the word gleaming there, right? I don't know why one has a parentheses and the other doesn't, but anyway. Here we go. Same thing. To and. That same K there. Can I hear just the sopranos at D, Starlight?
Both sopranos?
Yeah, sopranos, ones and twos together. Two and. And listen for that gold where you have that little dissonance there, right on lute. To and. Good. I don't know how hard that is to do when you're not necessarily near somebody. And Isabella, I was going to suggest for these pieces where we're doing parts, you can feel free to hop up here next to Sarah, so you're not quite by yourself. But if you're doing fine, good for you.
Did you hear something though?
No. I just looked at you and I remembered when I was making the seating chart. I said to myself, "Oh, I'll let Isabella know that she's free to come over," and then I forgot to say it. So that's all. No.
I'll use that if I need to.
Yeah, especially when we get later on, and this one's not too tricky. But all right, let's go back to C. Everybody. No, let's go to just do D, just from D, and then we can move on. D, Starlight. To and. from both E and F. I think that's where the mood of this whole thing changes, right? She starts off saying, I was a child of sorrow and so was my mother, but my love came into my life and now that's changed. I've broken that pattern because somebody showed me a different way to be. And so even though the music is the same, there's a different feeling, right? And that's what takes us to the end where she says, I am a child of sorrow no more. So we really want to acknowledge that as and really bring out that text. It's really the crux of the piece, right? So yeah. All right, good work on that. Keep going on that. And we are now going to switch to matriarch. So I believe if I did my work right here, you should be in your 1, 2, 3. Ones, raise your hands. Ones, raise your hands. All right. And you guys can, since I guess who's supposed to be there that's not here? Charlotte and Meg. Okay, so you guys can, Stephanie and Bev, just move in one so you're not out in your, if you can. All right, 2s, raise your hand. You're not, are you a 2? I had you as a 3.
Okay, that's fine.
I think I did.
Okay.
Because this is not high, middle, low. Just a reminder, this is a different arrangement than high, middle, low. So you have a bunch of different things. You got to know whether you're a soprano or an alto. Hopefully you know that, right? Whether you're a soprano 1 or 2 or an alto 1 or 2. And then whether you're a high or a middle or a low on those pieces where we're dividing that way. But we have 2 pieces where we have a 3-part divisi that's an even split. So that's a 1, 2, and 3. So tonight you should be in your 1, 2s, and 3s. I did my work right. Just make sure, Sarah, that I tricked you.
I think it was probably just the rehearsal I missed. So.
Yeah, you're a 3 on my list anyway. So but you're a middle. So.
Yeah, my 3.
I think so. Can't find you on my list. Yes, you're a 3. Okay, so you should be in your 1, 2, and 3 list.
I'm guessing, I think I wasn't here when we originally got this, but I'm guessing I'm 3.
You are a 3. Anybody else unsure?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Let's see, right?
Yes.
You're a 2.
Yes, you're a 3. Okay. So what I'd like to do with matriarch, it's been a little while since we have sung through this. Let's all sing the part that's marked 1, and we're going to sing that just all together. Allison is going to help you this time, but then we're going to try it again with only minimal help from Allison. All right, here we go. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm scooching through those longer notes, yeah. So let's start that one more time. I'm hearing every time we are on the G, we're below that. So let's see if we can kind of think up a little bit. And I'm not quite sure. So this is one of those places that's sort of probably in the middle of the range for most of you, I would guess. It's neither high nor low. And so that's a range where we easily can get lazy, right? So that's, I think that's part of it, is thinking like, oh, okay, these first 3 notes, no big whoop, right? I don't have to work that hard. But we do actually have to work just a little bit harder. I think maybe a little bit of brightness might help. Let's experiment with that and see if on grandmother if we can just bring it the sound a little bit forward so that we just have a little bit more brightness, and see if that helps. All right, here we go. Just this first phrase. 1 and. Yeah, so that helped the first note. Then we have the repeated note, right? So we have to think each of those next G's has to feel like we're going just a little higher, right? Rather than sort of just hanging out on that note, which actually sags down a little bit. One more time, that phrase, and up. That was better. What'd you do differently? You thought about it? Okay, that's good. Sit up, okay. That's a good thing to do. But lots of good strategy. I saw some people doing a lot with their eyebrows. That helps. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to sing it the whole part through. I'll speed conduct through the empty bars and long bars. But this time, Allison's only going to play a few notes here and there for you. So you're going to have to, it's not a tricky line too much, right? So you're going to really have to be listening and using your ears more rather than just kind of listening to what she's doing. Here we go. And. That we get a little bit in the cracks onto, especially on her pat. Let's do right at seated out. 1, 2. Seated out. So you have just that one beat of rest, right? And from patio and then even is the same note, but we're coming in just under that note. So we need to make sure that we're readjusting that after we ended on patio. Oh, to even, right? That's going to probably be one where we don't want a lot of brightness, especially altos. That's starting to get a little on the high side for some of you. So adding brightness is not going to be your friend there. You want to add, do like we did on the warm-up where we got higher, we made it a little taller, right? Just do on her patio, and then we'll do even. 1, 2. On her patio. 2, 3, and 1. Sign above that, and you might want to put an arrow or something, because coming down, you had a B flat, the phrase before, but now it's a B natural, so it's a lot higher. Yeah.
The second syllable of splendor, like what kind of a vowel?
Splendor. Yeah. Rounds with power. Yeah, Jean.
Her splendor, breath, no breath. It's the octave jump.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would actually take a little catch breath in before 2. But I know that that octave jump might be tricky for some, so if you need to kind of, especially altos, where that D might be really making you have to do some adjustments, you can take a little break in the middle. Just don't try to do to her split, right? Don't make it obvious, right? But you might have to just shift something there. All right, good. Let's now see if we can do this in, so you all have that. It's not quite a round, but it's pretty close to a round. So let's see now if you can do that in your own parts. And again, Allison's going to be helping you only minimally. She's not going to be playing every note for you. Just those check-in notes so you can make sure that we still have that D, we still have the G and A and so forth. Here we go. 3, 4. Right, so we're making a big, long crescendo on this. We start off piano. He doesn't really give a whole lot as far as dynamics, but I kind of like the idea of us coming into the grandmother's power a little bit as we come to the end, especially as we get into the part where she's seated out on the patio. That's the first place where we're really together, on where you have on her patio all together. So I think what makes sense to me is that we kind of are building that this is a long, slow build up to this thing about splendor and her power. We really want to feel that very strong, and we have that real sort of juicy, I don't even know if you want to call it a chord, it's really more of a tone cluster, isn't it? And we just want to really just, feel that. Let's, I think where it starts to get a little dicey, let's take it on the first page at the bottom, starting with the third part, would brush her hair, her long hair. Okay, so everybody coming in. So starting with the third part, but everybody coming in your own time. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, part 1, it looks, if you don't, I don't know if you have the page open like this as opposed to having to flip the page, but please look ahead and see that that A is not tied. It's a slur, and the note actually goes down. I hear a little bit of discrepancy on that each time, so just be careful there. One more time, same thing.
From where?
Same place, would brush her hair, starting with part 3. 2, 3. Yeah, can we really fill that in and kind of get 17. I see a bit of confused faces there. So part 1, you're coming in on beat 2. Part 2, you come in on beat 4. And part 3, you come in on beat 2. All right? So just write those beats above, and then I think that'll help you. Right on even. I'm starting with part 1. And 1. Good, yeah, I love that. Just love that sound. It's really cool once you get used to it. Did you notice that we have this splend, 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 and we really want to hear those 3 places where you go up that octave and almost like a little kind of spear pointing up. Yeah, Isabella.
We're doing a crescendo throughout this piece.
Yeah.
Can you like give us some cues on where to like be at certain places and what we're ending on, like fortissimo?
Yeah, like forte for sure, if not fortissimo, but I don't know that I can give you that off the top of my head, other than to say that, you know, when we have on her patio, stay at the same dynamic when you come back in on even. Okay? All right. Good. One more question. Yeah.
Seated.
Seated. Yeah. Okay. We're going to shift gears and look at mothers of daughters, which also, coincidentally, aka not coincidentally, uses the same parts. So your 1, 2, 3 parts apply to matriarch, which we just did, and also to mothers of daughters, which we're doing as a round. All right, let's just remind ourselves of how the tune goes. Hopefully you have written your counts up ahead, so those couple of places where the rhythm is a little tricky, we have it. All right. 1, 2, 3, act.
Mothers of daughters, daughters of mothers, and every day so in circles, joined circles, since time began.
Good, let's see if we can take it a teeny bit faster than that. 1, 2, 3, act.
Mothers of daughters, daughters of mothers, and every day so in circles, joined circles, since time began.
Do it again, and
Mothers of daughters, daughters of mothers, and every day so in circles, joined circles,
one
since
more time.
began.
2, 3, and
Mothers of daughters, daughters of mothers, and every maid so in circles, joined circles, since time began.
good. And you know, I like doing that a couple of times because the first time it sounds very, let's go. And then by the 3rd or 4th time, you're kind of swinging it, and I see your heads going like this. And that's good. That's what we want. And I think the place that's most likely to trip us up is in the 2nd measure, right? Yeah. We have mothers of daughters, daughters of mothers. You have that weird little, it's almost like it's against 1, 2, daughters of 1, daughters of mothers, right? It's a little awkward. All right, this time I would like you to do it now. You notice that Allison stopped playing quite so much, so I'd like you to do it completely by yourselves, all right? With the fast tempo. We'll do it 2 times through. 1, 2, 3, and.
Mothers of daughters,
Sorry, that was my fault. 1, 2, 3, and.
mothers of daughters, daughters of
Yeah,
mothers.
I hear a couple of people jumping in a little early there, right? If you're not sure where it is, just listen and then come in later. You'll catch it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and.
Mothers of daughters, daughters of mothers, and every maid so in circles,
not being totally sure about that daughters, but you'll get it, you'll get it. So what I want to do now is we're going to sing it through the whole thing through in unison, one time through. Then we will sing it twice as a round, starting with ones, twos, and then threes. You'll do that one time through. We'll wait till the threes finish, and then we'll sing it again in unison.
Sorry, where do we enter?
Yep, I was just about to tell you that. It's actually it's a round at the measure. So in other words, you have mothers of daughters are mothers of daughters. So at the very next measure. Okay? We'll see how we do. So again, unison one time, 2 full times through the round. That means parts 1 and 2 you just stop till you hear the third part finish it the second time, and then we sing it. We don't stop and then sing it. We just keep, we just sing it one time through in unison. All right? We won't worry about the clapping right now. I just want to do the singing. All right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and.
Mothers of daughters are.
Yeah, this is everybody. Remember unison. 1, 2, 3, and.
Mothers of daughters are daughters of mothers, and have remained so in circles joined to circles since time began. Mothers of daughters are mothers of daughters of mothers, mothers of daughters of daughters of mothers, and have remained so in circles joined to circles since time began. Mothers of daughters of daughters of brothers, and have remained so in circles joined to circles since time began. Mothers of daughters are daughters of mothers, and have remained so in circles joined to circles since time began.
And I will do a little tiny bit of slowdown on the very last one. Now I noticed this is what I saw, and I have a feeling that you'll laugh at yourself. Right? How many times did we just sing that melody? I bet if you just went like this, you could sing it, right? Why don't you try that? Like, put your music completely down. We're not going to do it as a round. We're just going to sing it 2 times through in unison. Put your music all the way down. just to prove that you know it. If you really, really are stumped at the next thing, you can look at it. But I bet you can do it. Ready? 2, 3, and.
Mothers of daughters are daughters of mothers, and have remained so in circles joined to circles since time began.
Told ya! Okay? Alright, but we will sing this memorized, obviously. If we're going to clap, we can't have music in our hands. So, yeah. Good. That's good work on that. Alright, we are moving ahead nicely. Let's look at, before we take our break, we're just going to take a quick look at the 23rd Psalm. So, notes are not too tricky with this for the most part. It's pretty much the same thing several times in a row. What's kind of important here is text and dynamic contrast, which we've talked about, and hopefully you have marked in there. There's a few places where there's a retard and then an odd tempo and so forth. So you want to be sure that you are watching for all of that. All right, let's see how much we recall from when we did before. 3 and 4. Yeah, okay. Off to a great start. Lord is my shepherd, right? 3 and 4.
Lord is my shepherd, I have all I need. She makes me lie down in green meadows, beside the still waters she will
closing to an N on there, and I'll go like that to close to the N, and then that is rehearses. Okay, not too bad. Just want to look at a couple little places. Let's look at page 3. The even though I walk through the dark and dreary land. First of all, who raise your hand? Alto 2s. Okay, yeah, so all right, put your hands down. Alto 1s. Hands down. Soprano 2s and soprano 1s. Okay, good. All right, so right there at even though I walk at the top of 3. Just sing your very first note. Right, so here we have a bright vowel, right? But we don't want such a bright sound, so we want to add a little bit of that tall, like we did in the, so instead of even, or whatever note you happen to have. So a little bit towards it. Here we go. And really a lot of K on that. I almost want the K to like echo. Okay? Everything's soft, but that K is like 4K. And even though I walk through a dark and dreary land. Yeah, and all of these places, you know, now that you've sung through the whole thing, we come to that chord, that crunchy chord, right, a lot. So can you just, even though it's soft, can you just kind of listen for that and enjoy that crunchiness there? Right on through a dark and dreary. One. Through a dark and dreary land, there is nothing that can shake me. She has said she won't forsake me. I'm in her. Yeah, they were just the 2 soprano parts from There Is Nothing That Can Shake Me, the soprano 1s and 2s. And there is nothing that can shake me. She has said she won't forsake me. I'm in her. Very good, very good. Let me hear alto, same thing. I liked what you did, sopranos, with your shake me. You did a nice SH on that. And we had a nice separation, both at she has said, as well as that breath after sake me, which is a little bit not what you would expect, all right? Alto, see if you can match that. Ready, and? There is nothing. And? There is nothing that can shake me. She has said she won't forsake me. I'm in her. And opening that up to except for second altos, you probably need to bring a little bit of brightness into that because it's low. Especially all that whole phrase where you're down at G and below that, right? It's very low, so bring a little brightness in that. Everybody, if there is nothing can shake me. There is nothing that can shake me. She has said she won't forsake me. I'm in her hand. She sets a table before me in the presence of my foes. Yeah, watch me there on the presence of my foes. I'm going to take that retard there. Yeah, so be sure you're watching there. Go back to she sets a table. 3 and 4. She sets a table before me. Yeah, can you really feel that T, ta, ta, ti? Feel that triplet as it differs from that duple that comes before it and after it. So really enjoy that. It's a round table maybe, I don't know. Here we go, 3 and 4. She sets a T, ta, ta, ti. she anoints my head with oil. You have the 16th notes. 1 and 2. She anoints my head with oil. You gotta be ready to feel that triplet right away. Right there at she anoints. 3 and 4.
She anoints my head with oil, and my cup overflows.
Now we changed kind of character quite suddenly.
Surely, surely goodness and kindness will follow me all the days of
Yeah,
my
good. So
life.
why don't we stand up as you're able and let's sing from surely to the end. I find it hard to sing this without being able to really plant my feet in. I mean, you know, you all have whatever, faith or whatever, but for me, this part right here, it really kind of was like, this is what I believe. So whatever that is for you, it's like, this is what's going to carry me through. This is what I believe. And we really kind of dig deep for that, right? It's not just like, oh, it's loud, okay, whatever, right? Here we go. And.
Surely,
Ah, you gotta wait for me. I want that to ring, that surely. I want it to ring for a while out there, so don't step on it. Here we go. And
surely, surely goodness and kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I will live in your house forever, forever and ever. Glory be to our Mother and Daughter and to the Holy of Holies, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end.
I'm not gonna hold the end for long. I just like that little bit of end. Yeah, good. The point is, this whole last part, from the surely, and even through, it's a doxology for those of you who are, do Christian worship. It's sort of just a way of kind of wrapping up the prayer. Glory be to our Mother. That still stays full and loud. Okay. All right. Good. Good work on that. Keep working on that. And do you want to do announcements? Are you up to doing that? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So there it is.
So, thank you all who have already signed up for jobs. There are still empty slots, and I have the job sign up there. I will, after tonight, just be putting it out as a PDF. So you can look at it tonight. There are some critical jobs that are, I have to say, larger jobs that we still need to have filled. So if you have any interest in doing the program booklet and designing it, that's up for grabs. I need a few more people to do publicity announcements, and Jean is going to work on database a little bit, but if you are a database person, see Jean, because we could use some. Yeah.
I have a question about the program booklet. Is there any sort of template, or because that just feels like such a huge, scary thing if you don't have training in it?
Yeah, there is a template. And frankly, last time I did it on Google Docs.
I have templates, but they're
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, you have InDesign.
I would be like willing to try. I just wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah.
I have Canva, but I use it for classroom newsletter. I don't use it to make a plan.
Yeah.
I just don't
You
know
and
how
I can
to-
talk.
Huh?
All right. We can talk.
Okay.
All right.
Not saying that we'll do it.
I know.
So that's, that's any help for any of these jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a pal, work together.
Yeah, I mean, I should say that Joy Ellen is going to be putting all of the material into one folder, and then it gets assembled into a booklet. So it's not like you've got to,
So they speak to two people, so Sarah and Richard.
right, and you and Sarah are pulling that stuff together. So we do already have a team, but we could use a few more. Another part of the team is ads. We have Lynn, who's volunteered to get women-owned businesses in Arlington, but if you have women-owned businesses in your town, then we'd love to solicit more for this Mother's Day weekend concert. Yeah.
But if we don't find women-owned businesses, we wouldn't say that we wouldn't take money from other owned businesses.
Maybe at the back after all, right? The second.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure.
Can I ask a follow-up question about
Yeah.
that? Is there any sort of, like, kind of like the template that you were asking about? Like, is there some sort of like a form that we could use to sort of start talking to people
Yes.
about this and so
Yes,
forth?
there is, and I can send out the information to you, or if you want, Lynn, do you want to pass it on, or?
I mean, yeah, I'll forward to people that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I can just forward the same thing to you. So you be willing to try to find some in your town?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Waltham.
I can try to zoom in as well.
I can do Medford.
Great, yeah.
I can do Worcester. I happen to know a woman-owned business that would like to advertise on our program.
Thank you. Thank you. That's kind of all I have for tonight, I think, except, sorry, yeah?
I usually do risers, but unfortunately I cannot sing the concert this year. But I know I'm actually really sad. I really like this program. But I need a riser leader for the concert. So dress rehearsal and concert for setup and takedown.
Jean has
To
a
be in
system.
training. I have a system. I have a
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
I
It's
think
a good
last
system,
week
so-
Charlotte
Yeah.
was interested in helping
Yeah,
with that. She's not
Charlotte-
here tonight,
yeah,
but
Charlotte signed
So,
up.
oh, Raphael, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, do you want to be the leader? Can you be the leader? It's just, I just need someone who's gonna take on, like, doing the stickers and then making sure they're all off.
Yeah, can you talk to Charlotte
Yes.
and Rafaela?
Yes,
That'd be
we're
great.
gonna need a few more hands, the day of and the day of.
Oh, yes.
But,
I
but
wanted
we
to
have a
make sure
system
that
now, so
Charlotte
it's
got
all
with
good.
you because I think she was thinking it was more straightforward than it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
The timpani, the rug,
Yeah, if somebody's done it before, see Jean. And the last thing is, I want to introduce our pianist today. Allison.
Only halfway through the semester.
I can say facts about myself?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Please think about this.
Yeah.
Everybody else did. So hi. Hi. You know me. I'm Allison. I sit here all by myself. I play piano. I also play organ at a church on weekends. I am also an audio engineer at Region Sports Center, which is also sitting by myself pressing buttons. I do a lot of that. Things I like to do for fun. I like crafting things. I like to embroider and cross stitch. And you may recall I was doing some knitting before the last concert. It's new to me, but I really enjoyed it, so I'll be doing more Carol projects after that. I hand sew occasionally a doll right now. Yeah. How's fun to dance? That's not fun. Really into crafting it.
Sure it is.
Okay. Next week, alto ones.
All right, we're gonna come back from break at about a few minutes before 9. When you come back, go back to your regular spots of soprano 1s, 2s, alto 1s, 2s. Just so you can be in your regular next to your buddies that you're used to singing by. Oh, Raphael has her hand up. Sorry.
Who brought the snacks?
I don't know.
Because last week we recognized the person who brought the snacks,
Oh.
so.
We're ready.
Snack person?
Yeah, what was the question?
Who brought snacks
Oh, I
tonight?
brought
Yay, thank you, Isabella. All right,
Thank
so
you for reminding
go
me,
enjoy.
Raphael.